Welcome to Factorio. Let's start automating. My name is Nida, so this is episode 4 of our new Let's Play. Thank you very much everyone for following and leaving comments below and likes and all that stuff. I think it's amazing, and it kind of gives me the sense that maybe I'm hitting the right strides here after the sort of stumbling a bit at the beginning, just to making it a bit too quick. Then maybe we found a bit more of our stride here. So by all means, continue to let me know what's going on or what you want to see in the future episodes. That would be really handy. And I will just have a counter counting up instead of counting down for 5 minutes, because we're gonna need more than 5 minutes for this episode. So, well, what do we need more than 5 minutes for? Well, we have our little starter base here, which I'm super happy about, and I do have a kind of a an admission, I would say, and that is the fact that I've kind of built this before, so maybe you recognize it, and if you do, well, okay, you got me. So it's not like just by random everything fits together. One thing I want to touch upon though, first we're going to talk about what is the goal for today. The goal for today is to use our little jumpstart base, as I like to call it, to build a more structured science facility, because what we have in terms of science, I might as well shut it down. We have our logistics science being researched, and we have this starter thing which has actually stopped. So, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense to keep this around. We are going to replace this with a much more automated way. This one we can also take out. You know what, we'll actually just take the whole thing out, because we have much better ways of building it. So you can see already in episode 4 we're taking out some of the things that we built in episode 1. And that's kind of the recurring theme for anything in Factorio, is that you are going to build something, and before long you're going to find that it's already outdated. Oh, you know, with me, this thing here is bothering me like insanely much. I'm going to try to ignore it, but at some point it's just going to be intolerable, I guess. Now, let's move up here. Well, I said that we wanted to build something, so let's start with our science labs. So if we want to make science labs, we can just squeeze them out here. I think that's going to be fine, right? Like something like this, maybe. Yeah, and I'm going to need a line, down here, exclusively for making the science. So let's have a look at the science. We can only make the yellows, colors, man. Automation science pack. We can only make this one. It takes copper plates and iron gear wheels. So we have copper plates on this one, and we can now do, and I'm going to show you a really cool trick that is something you want to put in your toolbox so that you can do it. I'm going to put this in. What you're seeing now is that on both sides of this belt after the splitter, I will have green circuits, electronic circuits on the left hand side, and gears on the right hand side. Now if I, for example, take an underground like this, then you will see that on the outside only comes here, because if we get as close as possible, you can see that there is actually on this underground, there's a block that blocks one side, but there's an opening that enables the other side to go in. So this actually enables us to use an underground to filter. And if I turn it the other way around, well, obviously it'd like to go this way, but I can also just press the R button while hovering over it, that rotate it. So now it's actually, you can see the arrows on top of the underground. And what we have now is we have blocked the green circuits from going in on this belt, and we have now only getting the gears on this belt. And that is exactly what we want, because if I bring it over and merge it in with this belt, look at the behavior of the belt we're merging to. Boom. When two melts merge into the other, then they will now split like this. So they only go in on either side each. Well, if we go back here and look at our here, that just so happens to be exactly what we were looking for and what we wanted to build here. So, what a coincidence that is. So let's see if we can build more of these. I'm going to do that one with the Q button, right? Gotta make sure to do that. And is that maybe a good location? Let me see how many we want. How many we have? That looks like a fine location. Fine location. So now we're going to talk a bit about ratios, because ratios are something that becomes really important when you build bigger things. Now already, maybe if you're really new to the game, you're going to be wondering, how many of those do you need? Well, the answer is a lot. We might even be getting a few more than this, but I think we'll take 12. 12 is a good number, right? Haven't hooked them up to power yet. This one is making one item, one automation science pack every 5 seconds. So if we were just closing our eyes a bit to the crafting speed of this machine, if I hold over here, this crafting speed is 0.5. If we're just pretending, just for a second, we're just pretending that it's speed 1. Then if this is crafting speed 5, then if I had 5 of these, and I'm going to then do copy with shift right click and then shift left click, hold it down. So if I had 5 of these and they were on a 5 second timer, then I would make one of these every second. And that's kind of nice, right? I mean, that's something we can use to calculate with. Just one science every second, pretty good. However, they have crafting speed 0.5, so that means I'm actually only going to get one every other second. But you know, this sounds very reasonable, and I think we'll build it like this. So let's start putting some power poles here. I think I actually could make this a bit nicer. It'll take slightly more space, but I think this is nicer to build it like this, isn't it? Maybe. It just feels more civilized somehow. I know, civilized is the wrong word to use, but it just feels more civilized. And we can take some of our many belts here. That one, that one, that one, that one. So now we can pick up from the belt that we've now prepared that has exactly what we need and put on the other side. So you're going to make a lot of these kind of designs where things go in on one side and go out on the other side as well. And we should be able to see that the signs will now produce. They'll start producing. Come on, go faster. And then we're just checking on a power again. Whenever things move slowly, I always check the power. You can also just hover over one of these and see that the green bar is complete over on the right hand side. That looks good. Let's see how many of these are able to fulfill. What we could also start looking at is the steel production, but you know, maybe not. What we could do as well, we have 4 of those. Let's pick up a few more. Oh, I've already have 50. That's a lot. That's like way too many. And here we just enjoy the fact that we can just go around picking things up from each of these boxes as we see fit. I'm using control right click, so I take half of what is in there. I don't want to take too many, but I do also want to make sure that I have some. There, so now we filled up our line here. Oh, let's also get some red assemblers. Yes, our inserters. The red inserters, yes. Long-handed inserters. While we wait for the science pack to complete, let's tap some more copper because it's kind of not keeping up. And you will be... I mean, I'm going to be mentioning this a lot of times, but I think it's kind of the most important thing about Factorio is that no matter how much you have, you never have enough. So just keep tapping. At this point, you know, I actually want to just take this out. I don't really feel that there's a need to have those. Iron though, sometimes you just run out of iron, so I'm going to take these. And at this point, the iron is certainly keeping up, so that's good. And what we can do is just make an extra iron facility. That would be lovely. What you can see here is that it's certainly not keeping up with all these. And that's because this science iteration takes 5 seconds for each one to process. And even though it takes 75. So the way that this is done, it's kind of an ingenious way. So the previous text we researched, they like 10 signs. You can handcraft that. But when you get to see something with 75 signs, then you should be stopping and saying, you know what? I need to spend the time on automating it. It's all about automating. So as the series says, let's start automating. And we are only able to actually get 3 of these up and running at this any moment. And because we picked up from every single one of these, or pretty much every single one, we still have lots of things going. I'm going to take some more iron just because I know we're just basically waiting for the logistics pack to be done. 3, 2, 1. And the other thing, yes, thank you, science pack. Is there anything else we can take? We can complete some of these other red ones, like steel processing, for example. That gives us steel, which we can use to make steel furnaces, and also basically unlocking a lot of other things, such as the car in the not too distant future. Let's get that one. So let's build the green science or logistics science pack. Now this is already a major step up in complexity. These are just, copper plate is a raw ingredient, iron gears is just one process. Now we have to make a transport belt and inserters. And both of those are more complex machines. Now, it just so happens that this is something I've done before. So I actually have the possibility to take this one and put it into this here. You can see it puts in. And I can make an underground. What is really important, and this is something that for some reason took me 5,000 hours to figure out. When inserting into a belt, I'm just going to show it because it's easier to show here. As an example, if there are belts, which side is things going to be put out at? The answer is always on the right hand side in the direction of the belt. So this one goes down. All right. Good. Let's try something. Let's take this one out. Get all of these removed and then try turning the other way. Just to confirm. And what if they are all moving sort of inwards? Would it also follow right hand side in the direction of the belt? Got the steel processing. Then we got a few more things here. We can do stone walls. That's really handy, but we don't have stone bricks yet. So we'd want to get stone bricks, otherwise it's not really useful. This is pretty nice. It gives us more mining speed when we chop things, when we pick up things. So we'll take that one. We could also get heavy armor. We will get it. But right now I'm no from experience, and I can ignore biters, at least for this episode. So we can do that next time. So this one, this is something that's, it's nice little rule of thumb to remember to do. If you're picking up or putting things on the belt and you don't know which side it goes on, then the answer is always from an inserter on the right hand side in the direction of the belt. And this one is as well. So we actually have something like this. I'm just jumping over here as much as I can just to get away. And we also have the possibility, this one will now input, because inserters will always insert on the furthest side of the belt. So insert on the side that is the furthest side of the belt, but inserting on the side of this, if you're sort of at the start of the belt like this, on the right hand side. It's some of those rules that just have to figure out. And now if we look at this, it just so happens to be exactly the two items we needed. So let's make a build here. Now this also has a different crafting time, 6 second crafting time. So the other one has 5-second crafting time and we built 5 of those. Then if this one has 6-second crafting time, then it should be built 6 of those. And I could twist this belt upwards, like that. And I'm gonna get the green and then copy it all the way down. And then again, input, 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 and then get it up there. Now this certainly deserves some lights. Boom. All right, so now we're seeing that our red science production is actually able to fill up all of the red science. The reason is that this one has a longer cycle time. Most research has a 30-second cycle time. Some of the later ones have a 60-second cycle time. But let's count on the 30 seconds, and that's why this one is actually able to keep this flowing. We will face the issue that if things get starved, it will not be able to, it'll actually empty this box. That's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Wow, I'm really happy with this. The one thing that I could want was maybe start using some more. The green circuits could kind of start be running out, and the iron is certainly running out. So if we want to make If we want to make this bigger, we have two options. We can either, thank you for the steel axe, I'm just going to continue doing more research. We're going to clean out all of the red science only first, because those are the cheapest one. So let's do that. I'll do a heavy armor. This gives us a bit more protection, cost some steel plates that we don't have yet. We also have some weapon shooting speed that makes our guns and turrets shoot faster. We have the physical weapons that make them hit harder. Those are just nice to have. And then we have now unlocked a number of additional techs that are really handy. Mainly, I would say, getting the automation, which gives us a better assembling machine at the cost of some steel. The advanced material processing, which gives us a twice as fast furnace. Instead of the stone furnace, we can do a steel furnace, also at the price of steel. And this one's just convenient. It gives us more inventory space. And of course, because it's me, I want to go engines so I can get a car going. Now, if we want to build double this in size, we could extend it, but oops, someone built a base there. Now the other option in terms of extending is just build another one. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm actually going to do it. It wouldn't be my playthrough if I didn't fix these kind of things. This is something that's totally up to you. However, how much you want to go into detail with making things look aesthetic or not, it's totally up to you. I really like having things look good, so I like removing these things when I see them, so that we can get nice, better updates. Okay, so I'm gonna take something like this one. That's gonna start here and go up, and I'm gonna have a middle line. I'm just gonna copy the one I built over there on that side. That one. And that one goes here and up. That means I need to build this. There. So now it continues over, and this one goes in. So, and then I need to find a way to get some iron in here, but at least we get the other one going. And I'm building it exactly up to this location. And then as part of doing this, I'm going to go through some calculations of how to, or basically some descriptions of how to do proper ratio calculations, because nothing really is as crisp as the smelting ratios. So let's get those smelting ratios. You know what? This lightitis we have, let's make sure we keep this going. There. Get some lights in there as well. Want to make it nice and visible what we got going. And things are not working unless we get, yeah. So now you can see the real benefit of our little jumpstart base, as I call it. It's the fact that we now have a continuous production of all the things we need, the belts, the undergrounds, the splitters, and we can go back there, pick up. And while I'm out here building, the rest of the base is just building up new reserves, so that when I run out, such as I have 22 left. But I can go up here and go, you know what? I actually want a few more. Boom. I'll take more. This one will run out soon, because it's feeding the science. Oh, we ran out of science. Keep going on the science. That one. That is slightly, that's maybe needed for when we go out. Now, if I do this part, then I've taken this belt and split it into two, and we might wonder, is that gonna work? Is that good? Is it bad? Is it enough? Is it not? So we need to do some calculations, and I'm gonna show you how this is done. Sit back and relax with a bit of math here. This one, oh, right hand side, this has crafting speed 1. That's the third line over on the second line under the title over on the right hand side, crafting speed 1. So that makes the calculation simpler. We cannot look at the recipe here. We can just see it goes in, and it takes, how much is that? We don't know, not exactly at least. But we can go up here and check it. So this one says it's 3.2 seconds, and initially we got to, what? 3.2 seconds? That's an awful number. That means each one of these produce 1 iron every 3.2 seconds. So if we take 3.2 and multiply it by 24, then we all know, no, it's not 3.2, it's 24 divided by 3.2. Then we get 7.5. Now 7.5 seems like an odd number, but it's actually a really handy number in terms of Factorio. I'm just going to do some next research. Let's take the small one. Because right now we basically just want to knock out all of the signs. Why not? And we're going to take the next one because this was super fast. Boom, boom, boom. Now we take this one. These are very slow because they're 100. They're good to have, but they also, if you're kind of running out of materials, take these last because they are very expensive. But we're going to take it. So this one consumes and produces 7.5. Each belt, as you can see on the right hand side, takes 15. So if I have 24 plus 24, that's 48, divided by the 3.2, then I will have exactly 15, which is exactly enough for us to do what we want to do here. There. So if these two are working, if this is consumed fully, then this will be consumed fully, and this one will also consume fully. But it would require that this input belt is completely packed, and it is not. So we go back to this location. And now we look at, I don't know, it doesn't say anything about mining multiplier. This one says its mining speed 0.5. That means every 2 seconds it generates one material. So if we have 10 of those, it will produce one material it'll produce 5 materials every second. If we have 30 of these, it'll produce 15 every second. And look at that. That would be according to the belt. So if I have 30 of these assemblers, 30 miners, then it will fill up a belt. If I have 48 of these, they will consume everything and they will fill up a belt exactly. So those are some really key things to keep in mind. So we are going to scale up. At this point, yeah, I'm going to build it more. Oh, I just really needed one more. Luckily, you can see there's a little green light and a little red light. Red light means that there's nothing underneath it. It has completely mined out what was below, which is super handy for us. There, 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 there. And they are now ready to go. Get this up. Now I have more than 30, but that's okay. Get it in. Turn this one. And underground. And what we'll see once this way goes in, we'll see that they'll merge together and then they'll actually start stuttering. There we go. This one starts stuttering. And now the other one starts stuttering. That means this belt is now fully compressed. And it cannot merge these two fast enough into this belt because the belt can only have 15, but they're getting combined more than 15 here. That's why it stutters. But what we know now is that we have a full belt that goes over here, splits into 2 half belts. At this point, I'm sure that someone would feel that it would be logical to just bring 2 lines over. It would not make a difference because our smelting cannot keep up with more than a half belt as it is now. Later on, sure, but not right now. Great. We have things working. We have our science working. We can build more. Let's look at our power again, because we've actually started to use more power, haven't we? And with great power comes great pollution. This hotkey here, pollution, says this is how far our pollution cloud stretches out from the base. What does it do? Well, it does a couple of things. It destroys the trees, makes them look ugly over time, long time. It makes the water, I can't see that. It makes the water go green and pollution, that's so just visual things. But if this hits a biter base, then the biters will get angry. Hey, there's a biter base, nice. If it hits a biter base, the biters will get angry. When they get angry, they'll start building an attack formation and they'll come after us. So at this point, our pollution cloud is just hitting the edges of what we can see on the map. So I feel okay. We're probably not hitting any biters. And so I don't have to respond right now. But as we scale up, we are going to start hitting more biters. As we hit biters, then we need to be prepared for attacks. However, what we can do is increase our power production. It doesn't sort of prevent us from doing anything. 1, 2, 3. Let's build some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There. and we take the last of the researches that is only red, and then we can go in to take a look at what we want as the next tier research. So, and do we have some wood? We have a tiny bit of wood. Let's chop a few more trees. Trees serve a couple of purposes in the beginning and absolutely no purposes later on. But in the beginning, they serve the purpose that we use them for our small power poles. They're excellent. Just built all of these. And they serve to absorb pollution. So pollution, as you can probably see if I do here, pollution kind of hits these trees and gets absorbed. While there are no trees here, then it stretches further out. But when they hit like forest, like here, and it doesn't sort of go beyond, at least at this point. So it doesn't stretch as far out from this location in here, because these trees absorb the pollution, while there's nothing to absorb pollution, and it goes even further out. Like here, the trees are sort of shadowing it, so trees are absorbing pollution, so more trees, good. But they're also kind of annoying and in the way. Ooh, look at that. This is a cause for concern for sure. We are simply not, this belt is no longer full. That means we are not mining enough. And let's go back to our little base and grab some more materials while we're handcrafting all of that stuff. We should not be handcrafting things we can pick up in the hub. I'm just going to clean out my inventory. Again, this is control right click, means taking half a stack and putting it each. And I'm going to take some of these. So we need to build more iron because it needs to feed both, or more coal because it needs to feed both our growing base, but also it needs to feed the electricity needed to, for example, mine more iron, more coal. So let's just start, filling this one up. Remember, they don't really take power and therefore also don't make pollution if there's nothing, if they are idle. So rather have too many instead of coming back again and again to do the same thing over here. So when you do an expansion, let's make it noticeable. That's super annoying. Turn, and there. Now we should see that it works better. Now we have a full belt again, and then I get a lot less worried. Let's increase our power here. One thing that is possible, but I have not deliberately not done, is you can actually use this as a big chest. That means you can, if there were miners here, you can mine things directly into it. You can build assemblers right around it. It's something you can experiment yourself with. I don't do it because it's kind of new, so I'm not really so comfortable with that way. But it's a nice trick that you can use it. And oof, that's too close, isn't it? Yeah, let's kill that one. We can pick them up that don't do anything when they're picked up. Let's get the power, the steam engines. And again, remember, it doesn't take more resources when we build it like this. I'm going to take some of these out. All the debris here. Boom. And take this in, this here, 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 and here. So we've now scaled up our power quite significantly. I think I'm going to build some radars because we're going to need those next time. Not going to put them in yet. I might as well take this one out, I guess. Let's remember to clean up after ourselves. This is one of the key points of having a nice base. If you continuously clean up, it's just so much better. And put stuff in there. And that was the last of the researchers here. The next thing I want to do, I think I want it to be advanced material processing, or maybe I want to be automation. Since I can do none of them until I have steel, then it doesn't really make sense for us to do that. So our base is definitely growing, pollution is increasing, but also our production is increasing. We now have the opportunity to make both red science and green science. I want to do one more thing that's kind of quirky, because I want to show how we get some steel in here. That could be, I'm just going to use whatever room I have available here. It's not much, but I'd like to do that. So what I'd like to do is actually, I'd like to get this one in here, but having coal on the other side, so that I have one line with coal and one line with steel, because steel is 5 iron going into a furnace. So if I could take this one, and if you remember what we have learned, then I can use one of these to simply filter only the outside. There's also another way of filtering it, which I suppose is more correct these days. That is using the filter on the splitter. And let's go on that side. I suppose this is more of a correct way to do it. So we'll do that one. And then I can just drag it in here. It's going to be a very, very small steel facility, but you know, it's going to be, it's our steel facility. So don't you dare discriminate against it. There. And then we should see eventually, I can also just hand feed it, control left click, put 100 into each, because I have so much iron in my inventory that I want to get rid of some of it. And we should see just the first little itty bitty tiny bit of steel coming out here. I will go at, oh, it's turning the wrong way for some reason. Yep, we got the first bit of steel. Let's see, how far do we... I don't know. We just want to grab it this way and at least make sure that it goes into a box of some sort, right? So if nothing else, I'll just make it out here next to the other box, just so that we have at least a box where it can put in there. And I don't want to build like a million of those, but let's build at least 200 steel and just put them in there. So unless we have something else, we want this one to work all the time. It takes forever to build, so let's keep it running all the time. And I think this one should also be done. So a bit more cleanup as well. Let's zoom out and have a look at our base again. We have now increased our iron mining, increased our iron smelting, so we now consume and produce a full belt. We have increased our coal, we have increased our copper, we've increased our power so that we can actually keep up with all the miners, and we've made it so that we can now make the automation and the logistic science fully automated at this point. Now we can just simply leave it, and the base will just, our little tiny base here will actually start working from here. This is amazing. However, the flip side is the biters are not going to like it. So next episode, we are going to have to deal with the biters. We're going to explore with some radars here and there in the corners so we can see further out. We're going to start tooling up and see what we need in order to have our first foray into the wild. And it's going to be exciting. So if you like the episode, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then consider subscribing so you don't miss out on new episodes. And yeah, so if there's something you feel I was glossing over, something I didn't explain or describe properly, leave it in the comment below. Otherwise, I mean, anything you want to leave in the comment, please do. Why did I say that? Never mind. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Until then, take care and stay effective.